Hello, I'm Marcia McNutt, the president of the National Academy of Sciences. It is my honor to be addressing you as we commemorate the Transportation Research Board's century of service to the nation and to the world. For those of you who are unfamiliar with our institution, TRB is but one of 7 divisions that comprise the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine. As NAS president, I also chair the work of these 7 divisions. This work is informed by the expertise of our 3 honorific societies. Together, we provide independent, objective advice to inform policy with evidence, we spark progress and innovation, and we confront challenging issues facing society. For 100 years, the Transportation Research Board of the National Academies has provided the foundation for safer, more efficient mobility here in the U.S. and globally. The work has sparked innovations that have saved lives, connected generations of Americans to each other and to the world, and enabled decades of unprecedented economic growth and prosperity. TRB's centennial provides the perfect opportunity to take stock of just how far we've come and the incredible advances in transportation systems and infrastructure that have occurred even in our own lifetimes. Throughout the month, this meeting has spotlighted those achievements. Whether it's moving people or cargo, and whether it's by air, highways, roadways, rail, or waterways, TRB's contributions have been instrumental to this progress. At this year's annual meeting, which is the world's largest transportation research conference, we're being called upon to envision the next century of mobility and the quality of life it will help secure. Clearly, this is a tall order. Although 2020 is behind us, finally, the events of the last year have put into sharp focus several existential challenges our society must face immediately. These challenges will likely shape our work for decades to come. First and foremost, the COVID-19 pandemic has cascaded from a global health crisis to economic and societal crisis. I probably don't need to tell this group that the transportation industry has been hit particularly hard, especially the aviation sector and our urban and public transit systems. We are hopeful that the end of this pandemic is on the horizon, now that there are viable vaccines. But even so, it will be many more months, if not years, before we fully recover from the serious economic impacts and disruptions the pandemic has triggered. And it remains to be seen if changes in work habits result in permanent reduction in demand for air travel and urban public transportation. Second, the devastating wildfires in the western U.S. just a few months ago affected me personally. We had just hours to evacuate our horses, pets, and most precious mementos from our ranch in California as the River and Carmel fires surrounded us and threatened to close in like a vice. That emergency was on top of an intense hurricane season in the Atlantic and droughts across the Great Plains. These are just the latest dire reminders that the impacts of climate change are upon us and will continue to intensify. The transportation sector is responsible for about 1/3 of all greenhouse gas emissions. We must find ways not only to reduce emissions, but also to mitigate and adapt to the effects of a warming world. Your work in the transportation sector will be absolutely essential to these efforts. And third, the tragic death of George Floyd at the hands of the police last spring, in the midst of a pandemic that was already disproportionately affecting racial and ethnic minorities, sparked a national awakening to the lasting harms caused by centuries of systemic racism and inequality of opportunity. All of us in every sector of society must work towards ending racism and advancing equality. Once again, the transportation sector has a major role to play in providing fair and equitable access to employment, healthcare, education, healthy food, and social and recreational opportunities. These are all complex, multidimensional crises, to be sure. But as I said during a recent Associated Press interview, I believe this could be science's finest hour. At the time, I was referring to the miraculous and unprecedented speed at which researchers were delivering viable coronavirus vaccines. But more broadly, society is turning to science, engineering, and medicine not only to deliver us from the pandemic, but also to build a more resilient, prosperous, sustainable, and just nation and world. To fully recover and rebuild after the pandemic, to fight climate change and curb its effects, and to create the equality of opportunity that we all want and deserve, we're going to need the best available expertise across all disciplines of science, engineering, and medicine, and across the public and private sectors. Your work as transportation researchers, policy experts, engineers, inventors, and implementers is essential. And at the TRB and the National Academies, we have a pivotal role to play in convening and harnessing that expertise to provide leadership and evidence-based guidance and advice that will spur real progress. Here at the National Academies, we house science, engineering, and medicine under one roof, so we can convene the foremost experts across multiple disciplines and across the public and private sectors to address society's most pressing challenges. Now, this month, our nation welcomes a new administration to the White House. As independent, nonpartisan advisors to the nation, our institution has helped inform every administration since Abraham Lincoln, who signed the Congressional Charter, which created the National Academy of Sciences in the midst of the Civil War. So we were born in crisis, and we will continue to deliver in crisis. The Biden administration's stated priorities, ending the pandemic, rebuilding the economy, advancing racial equity, and addressing climate change, closely align with many of our initiatives and activities. We're actively reaching out and stand ready to help in any way we can, and we look forward to continuing our work with Congress, where we have had long-standing bipartisan relationships. We are also redoubling our efforts to ensure that our advice can help inform decision makers at the state and local level. We are in the process of developing a new strategic plan that will empower us to be more innovative and more timely in the ways we deliver our advice, and to expand our reach beyond Washington, D.C. TRB has been a pioneer within the National Academies in this regard for its long-standing partnerships and collaboration with state and regional transportation entities. When the pandemic hit, our entire institution had to rapidly pivot to work in new ways, just as I know your organizations had to, and our work was kicked into overdrive. Delivering science in a crisis is special and requires a different framework than business as usual. This is a lesson I learned through some hard-won experience. When I was the director of the U.S. Geological Survey, I helped lead the government's response to the 2010 Deepwater Horizon explosion in the Gulf of Mexico, one of the worst environmental disasters in U.S. history. Based on that experience, I proposed a new framework for the National Academies to deliver 3 distinct kinds of science that national, state, and local decision makers will need to recover from this pandemic. The first kinds of science, that is the first element in this framework, is called actionable science. Science that is needed now to help inform immediate day-to-day decisions and policies. For example, last February, the National Academies formed a standing committee on emerging and infectious diseases to provide timely, actionable science on issues such as crisis standards of care, bioaerosol spread, diagnostic testing, and national testing strategies. We also formed the Societal Experts Action Network, which taps the expertise of the behavioral and social sciences to provide guidance to state and local decision makers on the most effective methods to encourage protective behaviors, such as wearing masks and cooperating with contact tracing. Recently, a fast-track study we did on equitable allocation of COVID-19 vaccines, especially in these early months when doses are limited, has informed CDC recommendations that healthcare workers and residents and staff of long-term care facilities be among the first groups to receive the vaccine. As we move into the huge logistical challenges of shipping hundreds of millions of doses of vaccines around the nation and around the world, many of you will be playing a critical role. The nation is rightly focused on dealing with the immediate challenges that the COVID-19 pandemic represents. But at the same time, we have to start planning for long-term recovery. So the second type of science addresses these longer-term strategic issues. When crises like the pandemic occur, there are cascading impacts on the economy, our infrastructure, such as transportation systems, and our supply chains that cannot be ignored. So we recently launched a new strategic science initiative to provide rapid, scenario-based analyses aimed at protecting these critical societal functions and avoiding worst outcomes. Our pilot case under this initiative will examine how the pandemic could affect rental property evictions for low and middle income households and identify potential disastrous chains of consequences, such as increased spread of COVID-19 or added strains on already taxed community resources. Once we identify those chains of consequences, we can be alert for them if we see them unfolding and determine what kind of interventions will prevent the worst consequences. The pandemic also provides opportunities for what we call a third type of science, irreplaceable science. Although nobody would purposefully start a pandemic, it provides opportunities to capture invaluable data and lessons learned now that a pandemic is actually underway. For example, TRB has issued an addenda to its seminal 2019 publication, Critical Issues in Transportation, which identifies research areas for determining how transportation influences the spread of and recovery from the pandemic, data we can actually obtain right now, and how the economic conditions and changes in behavior that endure after the pandemic will influence transportation demand and telework. So to sum up, the pandemic has really put into action our plans to provide our advice in ways that are more timely and useful to decision makers, and I firmly believe that these innovations will continue across all the types of work that we are doing. The nation and the world are wholly consumed with this pandemic, but the climate change crisis is also upon us, another global crisis that is cascading beyond environmental impacts to the economy, our health, and our well-being. As we build back from this pandemic, we have an opportunity to take real action on climate change as well. At the National Academies, we have several initiatives and studies underway that cut across our divisions and bring multiple types of expertise to bear. For instance, TRB and many other institutions have warned for years that our crumbling transportation infrastructure, the backbone of our economy, must be rebuilt and modernized. Even before the pandemic, we were falling behind other industrialized nations in this regard. Investing in a more sustainable, resilient transportation infrastructure would lift long-term recovery efforts by simultaneously creating jobs, strengthening our economy, and fighting climate change. TRB has done extensive work in this regard. For instance, vehicle electrification could significantly reduce emissions of greenhouse gases. TRB's National Cooperative Highway Research Program recently analyzed scenarios of infrastructure development, policy changes, and cost parameters to assess the impact on nationwide zero-emission vehicle adoption. In addition, in the coming weeks, TRB will release a major consensus study on how ride-sharing, bike-sharing, and other types of shared mobility services, which were gaining in popularity before the pandemic, can be more effectively integrated with public transportation. For both the pandemic and climate change, research has documented that our most vulnerable communities, racial and ethnic minorities, and the poor, are bearing the highest burdens. After the terrible events of last spring and summer and the massive demonstrations that followed, I asked TRB's Executive Director, Neil Pedersen, and all of our program leaders to examine how they can better address issues of equity and justice. TRB has accelerated its work in this regard. TRB's Executive Committee and Oversight Committees are making equity and disparity issues in transportation a major priority in TRB's technical activities, research, and advisory studies. And throughout the National Academies, we are adopting strategies for addressing issues of equity and inclusion in our committees and panel membership and leadership, in staff hiring and development, and in programmatic activities. This year, at the request of the House Science Committee, the National Academies are launching a major study on racism and bias in academic STEM. It is essential now, more than ever, that we nurture innovation and ingenuity from every quarter. For all our sakes, we must tap all the talent and expertise we can muster. In closing, throughout TRB's annual meeting and throughout 2021, we have all been challenged to imagine what the next 100 years of transportation innovation will bring. Today, I challenge us all to work together to envision a future of sustainable transportation that provides accessibility to opportunity for all and to start taking action to achieve that vision. I hope that, like me, you are approaching this challenge with optimism and hope, because despite the grave threats posed by the pandemic, by climate change, and by long-standing systemic racism, I am quite optimistic. As we reflect on the past century of remarkable advances in transportation and so many other areas, it is clear that history is on our side. Science and research are the foundation of our modern world and have helped us through many crises, including the Great Depression, 2 world wars, and most recently, the 9/11 terrorist attacks and the 2008 recession. With your help, I have no doubt that this can be our finest hour. Thank you very much.